Looking at this packaged unit, it's like a copy of a Zanotti style. I think the Soldering people have them made for themselves in China. It's got a gas leak. We've come out a couple of months back and redone the flare on there and put a new nut. That checks out okay. Full of pheasants. Surprisingly, the evaporator looks okay. I've been over that with the normal refrigerant leak detector, and I've also put some of that tracer gas with the 5% hydrogen mixed with nitrogen just to get the pressure up a bit. I've got it up about 250 pounds at the moment, and I've been all over this and all over the hot gas. It's hot gas defrost. That's the hot gas coil at the bottom. Been all over it. Looks fine. Can't see any oil. Can't really see any oil on this other than that T there, and there's a bit on the dryer, but I suspect that's come out when that's been fixed. Base of this looked very rusty. That's a receiver, which we weren't getting anything on earlier, but now we've got some pressure in there. There's definitely something going on down there. So we'll have to get some soapy bubbles on there and see if we can find it. But this, normally you'd expect, especially at the bottom of a receiver that's full of liquid, you'd expect it to be oily. And I suppose this time of year, it's probably cold enough outside, it might not even run much. But anyway, yeah, normally you'd expect a pool of oil. That's what you'd look for. So get that brush and get some soapy bubbles on there and see if we can see anything. Just goes to show, this hadn't dropped at all. It actually gone up 0.6 of a pound while it's been on test for 20 minutes. I've just gone around this with a brush. A wire brush, and I've gone around it with this so I can actually get in there. And no, I take it back. That's me on that. I thought we'd disturbed the rust then. Well, hopefully that weren't leaking and giving us a false positive down here. I might undo that bolt, see if we can lift it up a bit. Right, I've undone the bolt for that, undone the clamp for the dryer, so we've got a bit of movement, and then just twisted it a bit. We had a bit more of a, could hear gas hissing out again, but it was the rotor lock valve here was not much more than being finger tight, and as we were undoing this, this was just turning a bit and it started leaking around there, so we nicked that up. But anyway, now we've got this out, we can see basically there, see there's more stuff on it, just right on the back. Oh, I can't see it now. He was absolutely pouring it out there. Right, let's give me. Let's try from the other side. I might need to spray some more soap on there. Let's try again. I knew it was there somewhere. So that's it's going to need a new receiver. Doesn't matter if we get a different make one than this. Probably get one off a Unitate Tecumseh unit. off the shelf quicker than trying to get one of these. Might be cheaper as well, because you don't need to be that big. 1.5 litres, 2 litres, something like that. Right, back again, looking at this cold room. Got a new receiver from Thermofrost. They're usually pretty good at doing more technical refrigeration spares. Hopefully it's going to fit in there. It's about the only one I could get. It was the right volume. This is a bit bigger, but with 3/8 connections. The other ones had quarter connections. And this one's made in Italy, I think. It should be better than the Chinese one that we've got on there. I've got some fluid film. Since I've been watching Eric O, and he seems to use that a lot, we're going to give that a try. Maybe get this to last a bit longer. Spray it around the base of that. I think the trouble is this only runs seasonally, so it probably sits idle for a long time. Anyway, let's get into it. Right, we've got that in there like that. We've got to get a line from the condenser into here, and then we'll have to come out of here, put a loop in it and do something to get it to this. If we go that way, that's a bit too near, and this will be into the casing because the front's going to come up like that. So I think we'll put that round like that, at a bit of an angle. Got to change that dryer, so I might want to turn this solenoid so it's facing this way, and then we can put a loop in to get back to here. Put a plug in there, which we've put down somewhere. There it is. Right, we've took the electrical box loose to get a bit more room. It's handy to have like a long-handled screwdriver. It's just a cheap Draper one. The Phillips screws on this. We've got that dryer brazed in. I don't know if we can see. A bit of a tit underneath it, but it was difficult to get a torch in there, so it's a case of putting more braze on there than it needed and hoping it's going to run round. So we've got that done. We've got our valve on, we've turned that around 90 degrees. The other side's brazed in, which we did on the floor. So we can put this back in, the electrical box back in, and then we can put the dryer in there, put the receiver in there, and see about getting our two pipes done. Although I might silver solder a stub in these on the floor, because that'd probably be easier than doing that up in there. Yeah, that might be a plan. Right. It's going to go something like that. What I've done, I've gone around with a tape measure and sort of followed the route out and round and worked out roughly how much pipe I need, and we need about 50 centimetres on that and about 40 on that to do a loop, get up to here, a loop to get to there. So what I normally do, and it's easy with two hands, is I just roll the tape round the pipe. Sometimes you get to a metre and you have to stop and start again, move the tip, that way you can measure off the coil. Right. And then when you've got your measurement, that's about 50 centimetres from the end. Just straighten out the little short piece where you're going to cut it, because if you cut it on the curve you'll never get enough leverage to get that bit straight. Right, got that silver soldered in to check it. I think it's gone round alright. Always when you do these, always wind that midpoint so it's not open, it's not shut against either of the seats, because quite often there's a very thin coating on these, and if you braze them with the valve shut, it'll melt the coating and actually stick it shut, and you might not even get it undone after that. Luckily that one was a copper stub, so we just used a normal 5% rod on that one. See, once we've cleaned that flux off of there, hopefully it's got it. Right, we've got the liquid line done, just gone around the loop. I'll show that better in a minute, but I'm just to show that nobody's perfect, and I'm far from perfect. I was heating that up to swage it, and melted a hole in it. So we had a bit of a flame coming out there, and I thought it was a bit of oil burning off, and I kept the torch there too long. And where the sun's shining on us at the moment, it was difficult to see whether it was glowing red hot or not. Well, obviously it's gone past that. So right, got leak testing with some tracer gas, nitrogen with 5% hydrogen. I'll let these pressures equalise for a few minutes, and then I'll start the countdown, and we'll leave it on for a bit. But we've only, well, I say only, we've got the 2 joints in the dryers. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 joints, and that fusible plug which we swapped over from the old one because the new one didn't come with a plug. They usually do. Well, the bigger ones I've got have come with a plug. Yeah, anyway. Right. We've been all over these joints with the Inficon. It's a combustible gas leak detector. Like I say, it works with propane and stuff like that, but it'll also pick up the hydrogen, I think it is in this. Yeah, 5%. But what I do find with it is you have to be right on top of the leak. If you move away, it doesn't pick it up. It's not the same as refrigerant. It does seem to disperse. But yeah. So we've been all over that. That's gone down 1.3 pounds in 23 minutes. We've had a frost here last night. It's quite cool. This has been in the sun, so it may well have cooled down a little bit. And then we've got all these valves, hot gas valves, and that, and the expansion valve there. So it could still be just be equalising a bit, is what I'm getting at. But we left it on pressure test from last week, and that was still okay, despite it having a hole in the bottom of there. Still had a lot in there, so I don't think it's what I'm getting is I don't think that is a leak. I think that's just it's one of those things, because we've been all over this the other day. Anyway, right, get the vacuum pump on it. Right, that's all vacked. We've put 1.3 kilos in there. I don't know how much it holds. It doesn't actually say on the label. I've left the light on, just try and put a bit of heat in the room. I think it's got a 3-minute delay or something. That's the equaliser, that's that solenoid's energised. Put a bit of paint on these. It's a bit more on that one. So it's just fired up. I was just getting fed up waiting, just so I turned the camera off. It started. Fans on top. Going round. Probably hardly run. It's getting a bit of heat in it, not much, but then that's stone cold. A bit of heat in the top of there. Empty now. It's probably just a bit of vapour in there. I'm gonna have to put my heater in there because that's cooling down quicker than. I don't know how warm it is out here. Outside and in. One and a half kilos. Try and get some warmer air in, but it's so cold outside, you don't need to run. Right, we've got that blocked off a bit with the plastic, so it's brought the head pressure up a bit more to a sensible. It was running about 160 previously. We've got 6.5 degrees subcooling in there. In the liquid feed into the receiver, so I think we've got plenty of refrigerant in there. Try to take that off. It's got a leak in the fan. That's going to drop like that as the head pressure comes down. Got to get a bit of heat in there, help get the paint to dry as well. I'll put a bit more on there now. Yeah, it's got a leaf or something, or feather stuck in the fan. That subcooling's coming back up again. Right, packing this all up. Just tried it on defrost. It's hot gas defrost, so it shuts the fans off. A bit warmer, might take a while to warm up in this weather. Keeps the condenser fans going, shuts the liquid line valve and then opens the gas valve down the back there. So yeah, I'm open just about. Keep your hand on, that's going to be 50 or 60 degrees, so and it's not icing back or anything nasty like that. It's got a little accumulator in there which should stop it. Not too bad.